So there's an account on Instagram. It's called HIKENDIP. And they say there's 7 hidden glitches of rapid pattern recognition. The first is called the spoiler effect. It's when you accidentally ruin things because the processor predicts an exact ending before it even starts. Number 2 is forced blindness. You have to constantly pretend you didn't see someone's hidden agenda or the micro shifts to keep the peace and not look crazy. And number 3, conversation leap. Answer people's questions without them finish asking, looking impatient, but the brain genuinely reached the maze's end and 10 steps ahead. 4, threat overdrive. The system frequently flags dangers in normal situations because minor harmless variables match a toxic pattern from the past. 5, the micro expressions curse. You catch a half-second shift in someone's eye contact and instantly know if someone's lying. It makes superficial interactions mathematically impossible to enjoy. 6, the fixer's burden. You clearly see the exact sequence of mistakes someone's about to make, but are forced to sit back because people despise unsolicited logic, or let's call it, micromanaging. And 7, unplugginability. The brain, I guess I would say in certain times, can't stop scanning, so the background processor is aggressive. Sorting out data, even in a relaxing environment, could make rest impossible. God willing, we don't have to live in an extended state like that. So, so next topic is how do we know when we're in our real self, or we could be present and we're not like vigilant, scanning, suspicious, like what was just talked about, like recognizing patterns. What happens when we're not even recognizing patterns? We're just present with ourselves. James F. Masterson has a list which is called the capacities of the real self. The first is to experience emotions, pleasant and unpleasant. So obviously we don't have to scan for something that might go wrong because we're open to feeling pleasant and unpleasant. Then number 2, we expect appropriate entitlements. You could see how if we're living from our real self, we don't need to scan or be vigilant. And we'll talk about how that shows up in relationship and in trauma bonds right after. So number 3, capacity for activation and assertion. 4, acknowledge self-esteem. 5, soothe a painful feeling. 6, and that's, by the way, a kind of self-confidence. 6, make and stick to commitments. 7, creativity. 8, intimacy. 9, ability to be alone. And 10, continuity of self. So Dr. Lauren Fogel-Mercy on Instagram says, what are the goals for the anxious or pursuing partner? Someone who's vigilant, and the avoidant or more withdrawn person, someone who's like trying to pull out, right? So these are things that could happen when we're stuck in that sort of activated state. So the goals for a more anxious or pursuing partner, if you find yourself in a relationship, we'll talk about trauma bonds in a moment, but actually I want to talk about trauma bonds first. So the trauma coach on Instagram says, what are some signs you're in a trauma bond? You feel intensely attached despite ongoing mistreatment. And it doesn't mean the person's actually mistreating you. It means that you are being treated wrong for you. You are being mistreated for who you are. Okay? Defending or minimizing harmful behavior. You are denying your own, what's harming you, and you're defending or minimizing it. It doesn't mean the other person's bad. It means you are not living in an authentic self-care. Feeling guilty for setting boundaries. Focus, and the person may not be guilting you, and they might be fine with the boundary, but you feel guilty setting it. Focusing more on the person's potential rather than consistent behavior. So it's like, well, I see they're a good person, so I want to trust that they'll become who I want them to be. No. Constantly hoping things will return to how they once were. People change, things change, right? Missing the person when you feel safer without them. So someone could be unsafe for you. Someone could have an illness and they're coughing on you and they're making you sick. And it's not personal. It's just that they're sick for you, toxic for you. Feeling responsible for fixing, rescuing, or helping them change. The other person is not either. Some people do manipulate you in this, right? But the trauma bond doesn't mean the person's toxic. It doesn't mean the person is intentionally trying to hurt you. It means that they're not healthy for you. Ignoring your own feelings while focusing on theirs. Again, they didn't necessarily need to ask you to do this. They didn't necessarily ask you to fix or help them. And experiencing relief when they're kind and devastation when they withdraw. So I want to talk about how when we, so Dr. Lauren Fogel Mercy, she says, what are some goals for somebody who's more like coming toward, right? Somebody who's becoming anxious because they're going towards something that's not healthy for them, right? They're not feeling okay without whatever they're going toward. And in the relationship, they're anxious because they're having that inner conflict. So what are the goals? Practice pausing instead of escalating. Number 2, translate protest into vulnerability. 3, ask for reassurance instead of pushing for change. And 4, tolerate pauses without assuming rejection. And 5, build capacity to self-soothe alongside efforts to reach partner. Now, it's very important to understand a lot of trauma bonds are toxic. So that means that person is not only not safe for you, but you will not be able to get what you want, even if you pause, vulnerable, ask for reassurance, tolerate, build capacity. The relationship might not be one that will last and might not be healthy. It takes 2 people to want to make it work and build something that works together where you don't have to feel anxious and the other person doesn't need to feel under like attack. So what's the person who's withdrawing, more avoidant? Stay emotionally present because of disappearing. 2, name feelings of overwhelm before retreating. 3, offer reassurance before taking space. 4, take small risks with emotional expression. And 5, learn closeness does not mean losing autonomy. And so like, if that person is always going to be breaking your boundaries and take away your autonomy and tell you what to do and try to fix you and help you and, doesn't let you have your own emotions or doesn't let you take time, not disappear, but take time even with warnings, or when you feel overwhelmed, they keep bombarding you and overwhelming you further. Maybe either one is not in a healthy relationship for them. So now I want to talk about how not only relationships, but we have a relationship with everything in the world around us. So I was in a woman's class. Her name is Esther elkaim, and we were in a class called Think Again. And we were talking about how the original is the Torah, the classic. It's not old-fashioned. It's not archaic. And we are gardeners here. We see the thorns and the weeds in the world, but we sow and nurture. And the same thing as a relationship, right? So let's say in the world around us, we extend this to everything around us. With a job, with a family, with our health. Hashem wants to not be banished to the spiritual realm only, but into the mundane with us, in our relationships, with other people, in our homes, in our jobs, in our hobbies and passions, and in our gym, if you go to the gym or wherever you exercise, or, in your bicycle riding. And when we think, if the world was different, we would serve Hashem better. It's actually missing the fact that Hashem wants us to serve in this exactly path that we have with all its challenges and difficulties and have his essence revealed. And this is all his fault. He actually says it's all his fault. He created this. Not he says, but he's willing to say, okay, I know it's hard, but it's my fault. He's telling us this is how I designed it. This is how it's supposed to be. The other person isn't supposed to cater to you exactly the way you thought that they should. The job isn't supposed to be, paying more right now. You aren't supposed to be of a smaller weight yet right now. Everything is the way Hashem wants. So it's actually the mundane, material, ordinary parts of our life, whether it's sleep, movement, trips, body care, that are where Hashem can be exposed, his light, so he can dwell even in the most seemingly unholy level. And there's so much potential there, actually. And so we'll stop here. I wish everybody a great week. Shavua tov mevorach, a good tavach, and all the best. Bye.